Hey everybody, Josh here from Career Development, and we are here today to talk about virtual interviewing, which is a very important part of your career journey. So, the first thing that we're going to look at is the breakdown of what we're going to go over today. We're going to talk about our career toolkit and the pieces that go into that, body language inside of the interview and how we kind of deal with that. Asking the right questions, because you always want to make sure you have those ready to go. Then we're going to jump actually into the interview itself, and then we're going to talk about the top 5 tips for video interviewing, and then how you can stay in touch with us if you have more questions. So let's jump into it. So the first thing that we're going to go over is our career toolkit, some of the ingredients that go into this. And every single person, no matter what stage of your career or what career you're in, or what field you're in, I should say, for that matter, you guys have a career toolkit. Inside of a creative scope, it's going to consist of a few things. So one of them is your resume, which everybody's, for the most part, always updating and working on. We have our portfolio, which is, again, always being updated and curated because new pieces are coming about. Your cover letter, which we also have a video on that you can check out. Everybody's always working on those. The one thing people work on the least across any field is going to be your interview skills. And the reason why is because you get a job and then you're like, I don't have to worry about that anymore. So by the time you need to fire those skills up, it's oftentimes a little late because you're a little rusty on this and you aren't really sure what's going on with interviewing. So this is what we're going to be working on today, is your interview skills. Okay. So inside of interviews, both in person and virtual, body language is like a very important thing. And inside of a in-person interview, it's very easy to give like good positive body language because you can do things like give up good eye contact and stuff. But inside of an interview, body language experts determine that within a tenth of a second, people will start to form an opinion of you, and then within 2 seconds, they're going to start to actually form a just generally negative opinion of you. So it's usually like faster than you can snap your fingers. But what we need to do is we need to try to get out in front of that. When you guys are doing in-person interviews, it's always really easy to kind of like look at somebody and make it feel like you're connecting to them. But we need to replicate that inside of a virtual interview. And oftentimes people forget to do that because when they do virtual interviews, everybody like tends to look down at like little boxes where people are, and you think you're looking at somebody, but you're just looking at a camera picture of them. Instead, what you want to do, and you don't have to do this all the time, but try to look into the camera itself. If you look into that green dot or whatever color you have on your computer, you're looking into the camera, which is going to make it feel like you are looking directly at that person. Again, you don't have to do this all the time because you might seem kind of crazy if you're just looking all the time at somebody. You can let your eyes kind of rest and move around and look at information and things like that, but try to look at them to kind of give some of that body language, eye contact stuff. And then another thing is generally if you smile authentically, it doesn't have to be like a Joker grin or anything like that, but if you smile authentically, when you talk, you're going to sound a little bit friendlier and have a more upbeat tone to your voice, more enthusiastic, sounds like you want to be there. And that's going to be something people gravitate towards, and it's going to help you to kind of skew some of that negativity that people might be starting to form in their minds. So try to think of those things when we are interviewing, and it's going to help to kind of improve your overall body language. The next thing we want to look at is asking the right questions. So in an interview, we always want to ask questions. It's really important. Even if like you don't have any questions about the job, you still want to ask a few or think of a couple, because if you don't, then they're just going to assume like this person's not interested in this position. So try to think of a couple of things you would like to ask them. And how we do that. One way you could do that is you can ask them to explain some requirements in the job description. Maybe you have a question about something like, in a day-to-day capacity, what would this be? What are the 30, 60, 90-day goals of this position? Is there any kind of like, growth for career or, anything in like that inside of this company? You could also, ask about the operations of the company to kind of get like a lay of the land, like, what are they trying to accomplish? What kind of projects are they doing? Things like that. It's going to showcase that you have researched the company and you are interested in the attention to detail that they might be having, which is also very important with an interview. And then one of the last things you can do is you can always just even if you're not particularly interested in the position, you could just ask them, are the next steps? What are the next steps? What's the timeline and things like that? Because it's going to showcase to them that you are optimistic and interested in this position. Again, even if you don't really want to, you can still ask them those questions just to kind of, get familiarized with that process. And one thing that you guys can actually do is when you guys are trying to ask questions, oftentimes it's a good idea to write them down. Have a little notebook. It's okay to have it like right here on the side, because you don't want to get to the part where you have to ask questions and then you're like, looking around kind of really wondering. If you have 7 or 8 questions written down, a couple of them are going to get answered no matter what, just through conversation, but it'll help you stay on track and cut down some of those hers, things like that. All right, so now we're actually into the interview itself, and do not tandem interview like they did in Step Brothers. It's not a good idea. Here's what you guys can do inside of the interview. So you always want to make sure you focus in on the strengths that you can support with examples. So like if it's a design interview, talk about things that showcase your best work. Like you are going to be curating what they see, like stuff on your resume and your cover letter and your portfolio. So we want to showcase things that will, exemplify your skills in the best light possible that are connected to the job. So we want to talk about past successes that are only connected to this position. So, if the coolest thing you've ever done, not really connected to this, that could be like a passing kind of conversational thing. But we want to make sure that, we're just talking about stuff that's going to help you get this job. And again, you're going to be setting the tone for this interview, and you can emphasize the points they want to know about you. Again, you're curating this. Like whatever they're going to hear about and read about and see about, that's all pretty much decided by you. So just try and put your best foot forward with that sort of stuff. Also during the interview too, if you answer questions just very kind of directly, it kind of doesn't give a sense of you as a person. Try to not make it as just like question, answer. Try to make it sound more kind of like conversational, because then you're the person that they remember, because your personality kind of came out of your shell just a little bit. Now we're going to talk about some of the top tips for video interviewing, and always remember that it's a video interview. So the first one is you're always going to know the format that they're using, what software or anything like that. They're going to tell you, at worst like a day before. So test your technology. If there's a platform you're not signed up for, sign up for that the day before. You don't want to try doing that the day of, like 10 minutes before, because then you're going to start sweating, get all panicky because something's not happening. But test your technology. That's going to be your video camera, the platform that you're on. Make sure it's updated, your microphone, your speakers, anything like that. If you have the ability, check your internet just to make sure that that's up and running. Sometimes you can't control that. You want to then dress for success. So if they're going to show up wearing like a Marvel t-shirt and a flannel, that's cool. Don't do that though, because you don't work for them just yet. Eventually you might, and then you can start wearing Marvel and all that sort of stuff. But try to dress business casual, at least from the waist up, so that way they get a sense of who you are as a person. Don't wear like super bright colors that are going to be kind of like blinding to people. And that feeds into the next one. So set the stage for a distraction-free interview. So if you're going to be interviewing, try and tell like roommates or family members or anything like that, hey, I'm going to be doing an interview at 1 o'clock. Would you guys be able to keep it down for a little bit? Shut the windows so that way if like a car drives by or anything like that. Turn off the radio. Also, TV, things like that. Maybe ask the dog if you can wait outside for a little bit, stuff like that. And then the next step is you also want to make sure you close any tabs or browsers or anything like that, because you don't want to have like a calendar thing come up in the corner or anything like that, or a video start playing and you're frantically like trying to find it or anything like that. So just have, the web browser open for, the video interview or something like that. However, there is one caveat that you can do though that is a little sneaky. If you're not sharing your screen, you can actually have like a PDF of the job description pulled up, and then you can just have that in the background because they can't see it because you're not sharing your screen. And it's going to help you to kind of like stay on track with some of your answers to make them feel more kind of customized. And then when listening, so just like when you talk, you want to kind of like give good eye contact, you want to smile. When it's your turn to listen, you want to feel like you're engaged and show them that you're engaged. So just nod and smile is going to show that you're listening to people, things like that. And then a bonus tip is try to minimize the interruptions. They're going to happen, like a ding's going to go off, someone's going to knock on the door, the Amazon guy's going to show up, people are going to talk in the hallway. Just try to go with it, because people will see like, hey, this person can roll with the punches a little bit. If something wacky happens, let it be on their end and just kind of be cool with it, because then it's going to show that you don't get kind of frazzled by that sort of stuff either. And then one extra bonus tip is, so with any kind of job that you're interviewing for, as much as they are interviewing you, you are interviewing them as well too. So if during the course of the interview, like you get a feeling of like, this isn't what I thought, this isn't where I want to go, or this guy is not doing a good job interviewing me, if you feel any kind of like red flags, you don't have to continue with the interview. You guys, the interview process, I should say, you can, politely withdraw yourself from consideration. Always be professional when you do that. But just remember, you are also interviewing them. So if anything comes up, don't feel like you have to keep going forward. So with that in mind, always feel free to reach out to us and stay in touch. You can email us or go on Handshake and stuff like that. And if you have any additional questions about anything, feel free to reach out to us. Thank you for tuning in.